Okay, guys, 9.2, the spark of World War II. In 1936, Germany violates the Treaty of Versailles. They are stocking up their weapons, enlarging their army, extending their navy and their air force, and then they decide that they are going to invade the Rhineland. In 1938, they invade Austria. They end up annexing this territory and bringing them into the fold under German control. And then they invade Sudetenland, Czechoslovakia, and these are areas that are already populated by Germanic peoples, but they are still in their own separate nations. And so this was a act of military aggression to go into other countries, invade, and take them under your control. In 1938, we get the Munich Conference. This was a gathering by Germany, France, the UK, and Italy. And they decided that they were going to let Germany have Sudetenland without a fight, thinking that if they gave in to Germany on this one, it would avoid a war and a big blow up. This is what we call appeasement. This is kind of like when you keep giving the bully your lunch money, thinking that he'll stop one day if you just give in to him and it's not going to cause a big issue either way. And we all know that if you keep giving people what they want, they're not going to stop. They'll never be happy with just that. So this policy of appeasement was very prominent in the 1930s for Great Britain and France. And it delayed the start of the war for about 11 months. So it really just put a band-aid on the bullet wound. In 1939, the USSR and Nazi Germany signed the Nazi-Soviet Non-Aggression Pact, saying that they would not attack each other, and this would avoid a two-front war. So instead of Germany, if you look at Germany on the map over here, you'll see there is a western side and an eastern side, and if they only have to worry about one front, that means that they can focus their forces and their military on that side, rather than splitting their forces and focusing on fighting the Western European powers on one end and the Soviet Union on the other. All right, so Germany annexes the remainder of Czechoslovakia. They use a strategy known as Blitzkrieg or Lightning War. In September of 39, they invade Poland from three sides. They used a lot of force, firepower, speed, and on September 17th, the Soviet Union invades Poland from the east. So now Poland is trying to defend itself against assailants from all sides. They aren't able to keep this up, and Poland eventually falls. This is when Great Britain and France declare war on Germany. All right, so here's a little roadmap timeline for you of what Germany is getting into during the war. So they get a hold of Denmark and Norway, Netherlands, Belgium, Luxembourg, France, start moving towards the English Channel. The Miracle of Dunkirk, great movie that just came out, by the way, in the last year. This is where British and French troops escape to Britain. And then they start sending bombings to London, and this is where we see moments in movies like The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe where the children are sent off into the country, out of the cities to hopefully avoid the bombings. It was not uncommon to send your children off for their protection. All right, so we got all of this going on in Europe. And where's America? America is still favoring isolationism. World War I was still very heavy on our minds. We had the Neutrality Act of 39 that said that the U.S. would remain neutral in world affairs. And our allies could get goods and ammunition from the U.S. as long as they paid cash and came and got them. That's our cash and carry that we talked about with our last unit. And then in 1941, we approved the Lend-Lease Act. if you have a bunch of countries and nations that are war-torn and all of their finances are going into supplying troops and they can't break up their navy to come pick up weapons, something needs to be done to make sure they have the firepower that they need. So, Congress approves the Lend-Lease Act, and now the U.S. can sell, lease, or give weapons to protect the U.S. So these are primarily going to our allies. It was a workaround to say, hey, we will make sure you have the guns and ammunition that you need in order to keep the war from coming to us, in order to protect our mindset of the way things should be in our country. We are going to supply our allies to fight this power in Europe. We also get the Atlantic Charter in August of 41, signed by FDR and Churchill. This was a secret meeting that deepened the alliance between Britain and the U.S. We came a long way from the American Revolution. We are back on good terms now. We also have German U-boats during this time, and they're attacking U.S. ships that are supplying the British. This kind of goes back to World War I and the Lusitania. Now we are openly sending weapons to our allies in Europe, and the German U-boats are specifically targeting them to take down.